Savannah, darling, your posture is simply dreadful. We're not peasants at a barn raising. The words slice through the dining room like a blade through silk. I straighten my spine against the antique chair that probably costs more than most people's cars, forcing my shoulders back as Rachel's cold blue eyes rake over me with practiced disdain. My name is Savannah, and for 10 years I've been living in what most people would call paradise. The Harding estate sprawls across 40 acres of manicured perfection, complete with marble fountains, a tennis court, and enough rooms to house a small village. But paradise, I've learned, can be its own kind of prison when you're constantly reminded you don't belong in it. Much better, Rachel continues, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Now, about your allowance for this week. She slides a crisp $100 bill across the mahogany table like she's feeding a dog a treat. The same routine every Monday morning. The same humiliation wrapped in silk and served with imported coffee. Thank you, I murmur, because that's what's expected. Always grateful. Always small. Don't spend it all in one place, Tiffany chimes in from across the table, not bothering to look up from her phone. At 36, Vincenzo's sister has perfected the art of casual cruelty. Though I suppose there's only so much damage you can do with $100. Clayton clears his throat from behind his newspaper. The gardener mentioned the roses need attention. Perhaps Savannah could oversee that project. He says it like he's offering me the crown jewels instead of yard work. Oh, how perfect! Rachel claps her hands together. You always did have such earthy sensibilities. I take a sip of my coffee to keep from responding. The liquid tastes like ash in my mouth, but I've learned that silence is often the safest choice in this house. Where's Vincenzo this morning? I ask, though I already know the answer. Golf with his college buddies or sailing, or any of the dozen other activities that conveniently keep him away during these little family bonding sessions. Business calls, darling, Rachel says with a wave of her hand. You wouldn't understand the pressures of running an empire. The irony isn't lost on me. The Harding empire consists mainly of inherited wealth and a company that's been hemorrhaging money for years, but pointing that out would be social suicide. Speaking of business, Clayton folds his newspaper with military precision. We're expecting some important calls today about the bank situation. I trust you'll keep the house quiet? Of course. I nod like the obedient little wife I've been trained to be. Good girl. He pats my shoulder as he passes, the gesture somehow managing to be both condescending and dismissive. As the family disperses to their various important activities, I remain at the table, staring at the $100 bill. 10 years ago, when Vincenzo first brought me home, I thought this money represented generosity. Now I understand it for what it really is, a leash. Just enough to make me dependent, never enough to make me free. I remember that first dinner so clearly. How nervous I was, how desperately I wanted to fit in. Rachel had asked about my family, and when I mentioned growing up with just my mom after my dad died, the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. How tragic, she'd said, but her eyes were calculating. And your mother's people? Just us, I'd replied, not mentioning my grandfather Henry. The falling out between him and my mother had been so bitter that his name was forbidden in our house. That's when I became the charity case, the girl from nowhere who'd somehow managed to snag their precious son. My phone buzzes against the table, startling me from my memories. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Savannah Powell? The use of my maiden name sends a chill down my spine. No one's called me that in years. Yes, this is she. Ma'am, this is Attorney Williams from Powell and Associates. I'm calling about your grandfather, Henry Powell. I'm afraid I have some difficult news. The world tilts sideways. Henry. The grandfather I haven't spoken to in 15 years. The man my mother forbade me from contacting after their bitter fight over money and pride and things I was too young to understand. He passed away Friday evening. The voice continues gently. I'm sorry for your loss. He left specific instructions that you be contacted immediately. I can barely process the words. Henry is dead. The grandfather who used to send me birthday cards until my mother made him stop. The man who built something from nothing and then disappeared from my life, like smoke. Ma'am, are you there? Yes. Yes. What happens now? We need to discuss his will. Can you come to our office this afternoon? There are some matters that require immediate attention. I glance around the empty dining room, at the $100 bill still lying on the table like evidence of my servitude. I'll be there. As I hang up, Tiffany's voice echoes from the kitchen where she's talking to the housekeeper. Probably left her a paperweight or something equally useless. People like that never have anything real to leave behind. But something flickers in my chest. Something I haven't felt in years. Hope. The funeral home smells like lilies and regret. I sit in the back row, watching strangers file past Henry's casket. Important-looking people in expensive suits, their faces appropriately somber. None of them look familiar. I should feel something more than this hollow numbness, but 10 years of emotional suppression doesn't just switch off. Even grief feels muted, like I'm watching someone else's life through frosted glass. Savannah? I turn to see a woman about my age approaching. She's tall, confident, with the kind of presence that commands attention without trying. Her dark hair is pulled back in a sleek bun, and her black suit screams expensive lawyer. I'm Destiny McCarthy. I handled some legal matters for your grandfather. She extends her hand. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. I shake her hand, surprised by the firm grip. I didn't expect. I haven't seen him in 15 years. He talked about you often. Destiny sits beside me, lowering her voice. More than you might think. Before I can respond, the service begins. The pastor speaks about Henry's charitable works, his business acumen, his quiet generosity. I learn more about my grandfather in 20 minutes than I knew in my entire childhood. After the burial, Destiny touches my arm. Can we talk? There are things you need to know. We drive to a sleek downtown office building. The elevator carries us to the 32nd floor, where floor-to-ceiling windows offer a view of the entire city. Destiny leads me to a conference room that screams money and power. Coffee? Water? I'm fine. I'm not fine. Nothing about this feels real. Destiny opens a thick folder and spreads documents across the polished table. Your grandfather was a very wealthy man, Savannah. Wealthier than most people realize. How wealthy? Billionaire wealthy. She slides a paper toward me. This is a summary of his holdings: real estate, investments, and most importantly, controlling interest in First National Bank. The numbers swim before my eyes. This can't be right. It's right. And as of 3 days ago, it's all yours. I stare at the documents like they might burst into flames. Mine? Every penny. Every property. Every share. Destiny leans forward. Henry was very specific about his wishes. He wanted everything to go to you. But why? We barely knew each other. He kept track of you, Savannah. He knew about your marriage, your situation with the Hardings. Destiny's expression darkens. He wasn't happy about how they treated you. My hands shake as I flip through the pages. Real estate portfolios worth hundreds of millions, investment accounts that make my head spin. And then I see it. First National Bank, I read aloud. The Hardings bank with them. They do more than bank with them. Destiny pulls out another folder. They owe them everything. Their house, their business, their lifestyle, it's all leveraged against loans from First National. The room suddenly feels too small. How much do they owe? $47 million, and they're 3 months behind on payments. I set the papers down carefully, afraid I might tear them. What does that mean? It means you own them, Savannah. Completely. Destiny's smile is sharp as a blade. The Hardings have been living on borrowed time, and you just became the person holding the clock. They don't know about Henry? They know he died. It was in the papers. But they have no idea about your connection or your inheritance. Destiny gathers the documents. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I think about this morning's $100 allowance, Rachel's condescending smile, Clayton's dismissive pat on the shoulder, 10 years of being treated like a charity case. They're expecting a meeting with the new bank owners soon, aren't they? Next week. They're terrified. Destiny's eyes gleam. They've been scrambling to put together a presentation, trying to figure out how to charm their way out of bankruptcy. And they have no idea it's me. None whatsoever. I stand and walk to the window, looking down at the city spread below. Somewhere out there, the Hardings are probably planning their strategy, confident in their ability to manipulate another business relationship to their advantage. There's something else, Destiny says quietly. Your grandfather left you a letter. She hands me an envelope with my name written in shaky handwriting. Inside, a single sheet of paper. Savannah. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed family. I hope this gives you the power to write your own story. Use it wisely. Henry. I fold the letter carefully and slip it into my purse. What do you need from me? I ask. Just a decision. Do you want to help them, or do you want to watch them burn? Through the window, the city looks different now. Not like a place where I'm small and powerless, but like something I could own, something I could control. Schedule the meeting, I say, but don't tell them who they'll be meeting with. Destiny's grin is predatory. This is going to be fun. As we leave the office, my phone buzzes. A text from Vincenzo. Where are you? Mother's asking questions. I type back, handling some business, be home for dinner. Business. For the first time in 10 years, I actually have some. The next morning, Destiny picks me up in a sleek black BMW. No more riding in the back of Ubers or asking Vincenzo for rides like a teenager. Ready to see your empire? She asks as we pull away from the Harding estate. I still can't believe this is real. Believe it. Today you meet Darius, the CEO of Harding Industries. He's been trying to schedule a meeting with the bank for weeks. First National Bank occupies an entire city block downtown. The lobby is all marble and mahogany, with crystal chandeliers that probably cost more than most people's houses. Employees nod respectfully as we pass, and I realize they're nodding at me. I own this place. Ms. Powell, the receptionist stands as we approach. Mr. Darius is waiting in conference room A. Darius Lowe is exactly what I expected. Tall, silver-haired, expensive suit, and the kind of confident handshake that says he's used to being the most important person in the room. His smile falters slightly when he sees me. I was expecting to meet with the bank's new owner, he says to Destiny. You are, Destiny replies smoothly. Meet Savannah Powell. The color drains from his face. Powell? As in Henry Powell's granddaughter, and your new creditor. Darius sinks into his chair like someone punched him in the gut. Mrs. Harding, I had no idea you were related to— It's Miss Powell in this office, I interrupt, surprised by the steel in my own voice. And no, they don't know. Yet. Jesus Christ. He runs his hands through his hair. Do you have any idea how bad this is? Destiny slides a folder across the table. Why don't you tell her? Darius opens the folder and his face goes ashen. These numbers, where did you get these? Your company's books are an open book when you owe us $47 million, Destiny says. Care to explain the discrepancies? It's not what it looks like. It looks like Tony has been skimming money for his gambling debts, I say, reading over the documents. And Rachel has been inflating expense reports for her charity galas. The family doesn't know I know about Tony's problem, Darius says quickly. I've been trying to cover for him, hoping he'd get help. By falsifying records? By moving money around, yes, but I was going to pay it back. Destiny laughs. With what money? Your company is hemorrhaging cash. You're 3 months behind on loan payments, and your biggest client just dropped you. We have a plan. Your plan is to charm the new bank owner into extending your credit line, I interrupt. I've heard Rachel practicing her speech. Darius stares at me. You're going to destroy them. They've been destroying me for 10 years. I lean back in my chair. Tell me about the offshore accounts. His face goes white. What offshore accounts? The ones Rachel's been setting up in the Cayman Islands. Destiny pulls out another document. Did you really think we wouldn't notice? That's not... I don't know anything about that. But you suspected, I say, watching his expression. That's why you've been so nervous lately. Darius nods slowly. She's been asking a lot of questions about asset protection. I thought it was just paranoia. It's fraud, Destiny says bluntly. Moving assets to avoid creditors is a federal crime. What do you want from me? Darius asks. The truth. All of it. For the next hour, Darius spills everything. Tony's gambling addiction that's cost the company over $2 million. Rachel's inflated charity expenses that she pockets. Clayton's refusal to acknowledge their financial reality. The family's plan to sweet-talk the new bank owner while secretly moving their remaining assets offshore. They're meeting tomorrow night to finalize the presentation, Darius says. They want to invite you to the dinner, thinking you might put in a good word with the bank. Perfect, Destiny says. Savannah can observe them in their natural habitat. As we leave the bank, my phone rings. Vincenzo. Where have you been all day? His voice is strained. Mother's been asking questions. I told you, handling business. What business? You don't have any business. The words sting because until yesterday, they were true. I'll be home soon. We're having dinner with the family tonight. Important discussion about the bank situation. I'll be there. I hang up and turn to Destiny. They're planning something for tonight. Good. Time for you to do some reconnaissance. That evening, I sit at the familiar dining room table, but everything feels different. The $100 bill from yesterday is still in my purse, but now it feels like Monopoly money. Savannah, darling, Rachel begins, her voice sickeningly sweet. We have a proposition for you. Oh? We're meeting with some very important people next week. Bank executives, investors, that sort of thing. She waves her hand dismissively. We thought you might join us for dinner beforehand. To help set a domestic tone. You want me to serve drinks? I ask. Nothing so menial, Rachel laughs. Just be your charming self. Show them we're a loving, stable family. Clayton clears his throat. The bank's new owner is supposed to be quite young, probably appreciates a more relatable perspective. Someone from a simpler background, Tiffany adds with a smirk. You'd be perfect. I nod slowly. Of course. I'd be happy to help. Wonderful, Rachel claps her hands. This could be exactly what we need to turn things around. As they continue planning their strategy, I excuse myself to use the bathroom. In the hallway, I overhear Tony on the phone. No, I can't pay you back yet, but after next week everything changes. We're meeting with the bank owner and my mother could charm the devil himself. He pauses, listening. Trust me, once we get this loan extension, I'll have your money, with interest. I slip back to the dining room, where Rachel is still holding court. The key is making them feel important, while subtly reminding them that the Harding name means something in this city, she's saying. People like that, they crave respectability. People like what? I ask innocently. Oh, new money types. They always want to buy their way into society. Rachel's smile is razor sharp. Lucky for us, we have something they want. If only she knew. The next morning, I find the entire family gathered in Clayton's study, papers scattered across his massive oak desk like battle plans. They're so absorbed in their scheming they don't notice me in the doorway. The presentation needs to emphasize our community ties, Rachel says, adjusting her reading glasses. Charity work, local investments, that sort of thing. What about the numbers? Tony asks, sweat beading on his forehead. They're going to want to see actual financials.
Darius is handling that, Clayton waves dismissively. He knows how to make things look favorable. Tiffany looks up from her laptop. I've been researching this new owner. Nobody knows anything about them. Could be anyone. All the better, Rachel smiles. Mystery people are usually insecure about their status. We can work with that. What if they're not impressed by the Harding name? Vincenzo asks quietly. The room goes silent. Rachel's smile turns icy. Don't be ridiculous, darling. Everyone knows who we are in this city. We built half the cultural institutions, funded the hospital wing, sponsored countless charity events. She straightens her pearls. The Harding name opens doors. But what if... There are no what ifs, Clayton interrupts. This family has survived worse than some upstart banker. We adapt, we charm, we win. It's what we do. I clear my throat, and they all turn. Sorry, I was looking for coffee. Of course, dear. Rachel's voice immediately shifts to that patronizing tone. Kitchen's that way, as always. As I pour coffee, I hear them resume their plotting. We should move the meeting up, Tony says urgently. Every day we wait is another day of interest. Absolutely not, Rachel snaps. We need time to prepare properly. First impressions matter. We don't have time, Tony's voice cracks. Do you have any idea how much pressure I'm under? Keep your voice down, Clayton hisses, and get yourself together. We can't afford to look desperate. But they are desperate. I can smell it on them like cheap cologne. My phone buzzes. A text from Destiny. Emergency meeting. Can you get away? I slip out the back door and drive to Destiny's office, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. What's wrong? I ask as soon as I walk in. Sit down. Destiny's face is grim. We intercepted some communications this morning. Rachel's been busy. She slides a printout across the desk. Email exchanges between Rachel and someone named Marcus in the Cayman Islands. She's not just planning to move assets, Destiny says. She's already started. $2 million transferred yesterday. Can we stop it? We can freeze their accounts, but she's been clever. Small transfers over several weeks, just under the reporting thresholds. Destiny pulls up more documents. There's more. She's been liquidating jewelry, art pieces, anything portable. How much has she moved? Close to $5 million so far, and she's planning to accelerate after the bank meeting. I read through the emails, my anger building with each line, Rachel discussing me like I'm a piece of furniture. The little mouse won't notice anything. She barely understands her own checking account. There's something else, Destiny says quietly. I think Vincenzo knows. She shows me another email. This one from Vincenzo to his mother. Are you sure about this? What if Savannah finds out? Rachel's response. Finds out what? That we're protecting our family's legacy? She should be grateful we're including her at all. He's trying to protect me, I whisper. Or protect himself. Destiny's voice is hard. Either way, he's complicit. My phone rings. Vincenzo. Where are you? He sounds panicked. Mother's looking for you. Running errands. Why? Can you come home? We need to talk. About what? Long pause. Just, please come home. I hang up and look at Destiny. I think he's going to confess. What will you do? I don't know. When I get home, Vincenzo is waiting in our bedroom, pacing like a caged animal. His usually perfect hair is disheveled, his shirt wrinkled. We need to talk, he says without preamble. About what? About my family. About what they're planning. He sits heavily on the bed. Savannah, I know you think I don't see how they treat you, but I do. Then why don't you stop them? Because I'm weak. His voice breaks. Because they're all I have, and I'm terrified of losing them. What about losing me? He looks up, tears in his eyes. Are you planning to leave?
The question hangs between us like a loaded gun. Should I be?
My mother. She's doing things, moving money around. She says it's to protect the family, but I think she's breaking the law. What kind of things? Offshore accounts, asset transfers. She made me sign papers I didn't understand. He runs his hands through his hair. I'm scared, Savannah, really scared. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only honest person in this house. Because maybe if you know the truth, you can help us figure out what to do. I sit beside him on the bed. This man I once loved. Maybe still love. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Talk to them? Make them see reason? He grabs my hands. You're good with people. Better than any of us. Vincenzo, what if it's too late? What if they've already gone too far? Then we'll face the consequences together. He squeezes my hands. You and me. Like we always said we would. But we never faced anything together. For 10 years, he's chosen them over me every single time. I need to think, I say, pulling away. The bank meeting is in 3 days, he says desperately. Whatever you're going to do, decide fast. As I leave the room, my phone buzzes. Another text from Destiny. Rachel just transferred another $1 million. We need to move now. I look back at Vincenzo, still sitting on the bed with his head in his hands. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. I text back, move the meeting to tomorrow. It's time. The call comes at 7 a.m., shattering the morning quiet like a gunshot. What do you mean tomorrow? Rachel's voice screeches through Clayton's phone so loudly I can hear it from across the breakfast table. Clayton's face goes pale. Yes, I understand. No, we'll be ready. He hangs up and looks around the table at his family. The bank meeting has been moved up. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow? Tiffany drops her fork. We're not ready. We'll have to be. Clayton's voice is steady, but his hands shake as he reaches for his coffee. This is a disaster, Tony mutters, pushing eggs around his plate. They're trying to catch us off guard. Or they're eager to do business, Rachel says, but her usual confidence wavers. We stick to the plan, charm offensive, full court press. What if that's not enough? Vincenzo asks. Rachel's eyes flash. It will be enough. It has to be. I sip my coffee, watching the panic spread across their faces like wildfire. Is there anything I can do to help? Actually, yes. Rachel turns to me with desperate brightness. We've decided you should come to the meeting. Me? You have such a relatable quality, she says, the word relatable dripping with condescension. These new money types appreciate authenticity. I don't know anything about banking. You don't need to know anything, Clayton says. Just smile, be supportive, show them we're a united family. What about the presentation? Tiffany asks, frantically typing on her laptop. We need to restructure the whole thing. I'll handle the numbers, Tony says, but sweat beads on his forehead. Darius can help clean up the projections. Clean up? Vincenzo looks suspicious. What does that mean? It means we present our best foot forward, Rachel snaps. Every business does it. After breakfast, I slip away to call Destiny. Perfect timing, she says. I've got news. Rachel transferred another $2 million this morning. She's accelerating the timeline. Because of the meeting? Because she's panicking. She knows something's wrong but can't figure out what. Destiny's voice is sharp with satisfaction. How are they handling the schedule change? Like a house on fire. Rachel wants me to come to the meeting. Even better. You can watch their faces when they realize who they're dealing with. What about the asset transfers? Can we stop them? Already done. I've had our legal team prepare freeze orders for all their accounts. The moment they step foot in that conference room, their financial escape routes disappear. That evening, Vincenzo finds me in the garden. The roses Clayton mentioned need attention, but I've been avoiding them. Now I'm deadheading blooms in the fading light, trying to calm my nerves. You're quiet tonight, he says, sitting on the stone bench beside me.
Just thinking. About tomorrow? I nod, not trusting my voice. Savannah, I need to tell you something. His voice is barely above a whisper. About the money my mother's been moving. What about it? I signed the papers, but I didn't know what they were for. She said it was just reorganizing assets, protecting the family legacy. He runs his hands through his hair, but I think she's been lying to all of us. What makes you think that? Because she's been asking me about your family, about whether you have any relatives with money, any connections she doesn't know about. My blood runs cold. What did you tell her? Nothing, because there's nothing to tell, right? He looks at me with desperate hope. You don't have any secret rich relatives, do you? The question hangs between us like a blade. This is my chance to tell him the truth, to warn him about what's coming. But the memory of 10 years of humiliation, of being treated like a charity case, stops the words in my throat. No, I lie. No secret relatives. Relief floods his face. Good, because if Mother thought you were hiding something, she'd never forgive you. And what about you? I ask. Would you forgive me? For what? For not being what you thought I was. He takes my hand, and for a moment I remember why I fell in love with him. Savannah, you're exactly what I thought you were. Kind, honest, loyal. That's why I married you. Even though your family hates me? They don't hate you. They don't understand you. They think I'm beneath them. You're not beneath anyone. His grip tightens. Tomorrow, when we walk into that meeting, I want you to remember that. You belong there as much as any of us. If only he knew how much I belong there. Vincenzo, what if things change? What if everything we thought we knew turns out to be wrong? What do you mean? What if the people we trust aren't trustworthy? What if the life we've built is built on lies? He's quiet for a long moment. Then we face the truth together, whatever it is. Even if it destroys everything? Even then. But as we sit in the garden, his hand in mine, I know he doesn't mean it. When the truth comes out tomorrow, he'll choose his family over me. He always has. My phone buzzes. A text from Destiny. Everything's ready. Bank security will escort them to conference room A at exactly 10 a.m. You should arrive at 9:45. I text back. What about the freeze orders? Executed the moment they walk through the door. No more money transfers, no more escape routes. And the evidence of fraud? Compiled and ready. Tony's gambling debts, Rachel's embezzlement, the offshore accounts. Everything. I look at Vincenzo, still holding my hand in the gathering darkness. Tomorrow, his world ends. Tonight, he still believes in fairy tales. We should go in, I say. Big day tomorrow. Savannah? He stops me as we reach the door. I love you. Whatever happens tomorrow, remember that. I'll remember. But love isn't enough. It never was. The morning arrives gray and cold, matching my mood perfectly. I dress carefully. A navy blue suit I bought years ago but never wore because Rachel said it made me look too serious. Today, serious is exactly what I'm going for. The Hardings gather in the foyer like soldiers preparing for battle. Rachel wears her best Chanel suit and enough diamonds to blind a pilot. Clayton checks his watch obsessively. Tony fidgets with his tie, sweat already staining his collar despite the cool weather. Remember, Rachel addresses the group like a general, we present a united front, confident, successful, worthy of investment. What if they ask about the missed payments? Tiffany asks. We explain that it was a temporary cash flow issue, now resolved, Clayton says smoothly. Darius has prepared all the documentation. Vincenzo appears at my side, straightening his cufflinks. You look beautiful, he whispers. Thank you. Are you nervous? Terrified, I say, and it's not entirely a lie. The drive to the bank takes 20 minutes.
20 minutes of Rachel rehearsing talking points, Clayton reviewing financial projections, and Tony staring out the window like a man heading to his execution. "Savannah, dear," Rachel turns to me. "Remember what we discussed. You're there to provide warmth, relatability. Don't speak unless spoken to." "Of course. And if they ask about your background, keep it simple. Small-town girl, grateful for the opportunities the Harding family has provided." The words taste like poison, but I nod. First National Bank's lobby buzzes with morning activity. The security guard recognizes the Harding name and escorts us to the elevator. As we rise toward the executive floors, I catch my reflection in the polished steel doors. I look different, harder, more focused. "Conference Room A," the guard announces, opening the door to reveal a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "The bank representatives will be with you shortly," he says, then leaves us alone. Rachel immediately begins arranging papers on the conference table. "Tony, stop sweating. Clayton, check the projector. Tiffany, fix your lipstick." "Where's the new owner?" Vincenzo asks, looking around the empty room. "Probably making an entrance," Rachel says dismissively. "Power play. We'll wait as long as necessary." At exactly 10 a.m., the door opens. Destiny walks in first, carrying a thick folder and wearing an expression that could cut glass. Behind her, two men in expensive suits. Bank lawyers, I assume. "Good morning," Destiny says crisply. "I'm Destiny McCarthy, legal counsel for First National Bank." "Where's the owner?" Rachel demands, her charm offensive already cracking. "She'll be right in." The door opens again, and I walk through it. The silence that follows is deafening. I watch their faces cycle through confusion, recognition, and finally, horror. Rachel's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. Clayton drops his pen. Tony goes so pale I think he might faint. "Good morning," I say, taking my seat at the head of the table. "Thank you all for coming." "Savannah?" Vincenzo's voice is barely a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here because this is my bank, my meeting, my decision to make about your family's future." "That's impossible," Rachel sputters. "You're nobody. You have nothing." "I have everything." I open the folder Destiny prepared, including $47 million in debt that your family owes me. "This is a joke," Tiffany says, but her voice shakes. Some kind of sick prank. "The only joke is how long you've been living beyond your means." I slide a document across the table. "Your loan payments are 3 months overdue. Your company is hemorrhaging money, and you've been moving assets offshore to avoid paying your debts." Clayton finds his voice. "Even if this is true, even if you somehow inherited money, you can't just... I can do whatever I want. It's my bank." "Savannah, please." Vincenzo leans forward. "We can work this out. We're family." "Family?" The word comes out sharper than I intended. "For 10 years you've treated me like a servant, a charity case, an embarrassment you had to tolerate." "That's not true," he says desperately. "Isn't it?" I turn to Rachel. "Tell him about the allowance. Tell him about the comments. Tell him how you've spent a decade making sure I knew I didn't belong." Rachel's face is white with rage. "You ungrateful little..." "Careful," Destiny interrupts. "You're speaking to the person who controls your financial future." "This is blackmail," Clayton says. "This is business." I pull out another document. "Tony, would you like to explain to your family about the $2 million you've stolen from the company to pay gambling debts?" Tony's face crumples. "How did you..." "Or should we discuss Rachel's creative accounting? The charity expenses that went straight into her personal accounts?" "You can't prove any of this," Rachel hisses. "Actually, I can." I spread the evidence across the table like playing cards. Bank records, email communications, transfer receipts, all of it admissible in court. "What do you want?" Clayton asks quietly. "I want you to understand what it feels like to be powerless, to beg for scraps.
To smile while people who are supposed to love you tear you apart piece by piece.
Savannah, please. Vincenzo's voice breaks. I know we haven't been perfect, but we can change. I can change. Can you? Because last night you had the chance to warn me about your mother's fraud, and instead you asked me to help charm the bank owner. I didn't know it was you. Would it have mattered if you did? The question hangs in the air like smoke. We all know the answer. So what happens now? Tiffany asks, her usual smugness replaced by fear. I look around the table at their faces. The same faces that have looked down on me for a decade. Now they're looking up, waiting for my mercy. Now, I say, reaching for the final folder, we discuss the terms of your surrender. Rachel's laugh is bitter and broken. You think you've won? You think destroying us will make you happy? Let's find out. I open the folder and begin to read. I spread the documents across the table like a dealer revealing a winning hand. Each page represents a nail in their coffin, and I intend to hammer every single one home. Let's start with the immediate consequences, I say, my voice steady as steel. As of this morning, all Harding family accounts have been frozen pending investigation of fraudulent asset transfers. You can't do that! Rachel shrieks, her composure finally cracking completely. I can, and I have. Destiny, would you explain the legal framework? Destiny stands, all business. Mrs. Harding, you've transferred over $7 million to offshore accounts in the past month. That constitutes fraud under federal banking laws. The FBI will be notified within the hour. Rachel's face goes from red to white in seconds. This is harassment. We'll sue. With what money? I ask. Your legal retainer account was frozen this morning along with everything else. Clayton tries to maintain his dignity. Savannah, surely we can reach some accommodation. The Harding name still means something in this city. Does it? Let's see. I pull out a newspaper clipping. Tomorrow's headline: Prominent banking family faces fraud charges. I had a friend at the Herald prepare it. You leaked this to the press? Tiffany gasps. I didn't have to leak anything. Public records are public. I slide another document forward. Tony, this is a warrant for your arrest. Embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy. The police are waiting in the lobby. Tony breaks down completely, sobbing into his hands. I never meant for it to go this far. The gambling, it was just supposed to be temporary. $2 million temporary? I ask. How exactly did you plan to pay that back? I thought we'd get the loan extension, and I could replace the money before anyone noticed. But someone did notice. Darius has been covering for you for months, hasn't he? Tony nods miserably. He said he was trying to protect the family. By falsifying company records, he'll be charged as an accessory. Vincenzo finally finds his voice. Savannah, what about us? What about our marriage? The question I've been dreading. I look at him, really look at him, and see not the man I fell in love with, but the weak, enabling coward he's always been. What marriage, Vincenzo? The one where you stood by while your family humiliated me? The one where you gave me an allowance like a child? The one where you knew your mother was committing crimes and asked me to help charm her victims? I was trying to protect you. From what? The truth? Your family's corruption? Or from having to choose between them and me? He can't answer because we both know he would have chosen them. He always did. I want a divorce, I say quietly. Immediately. Savannah, please. The papers are already drawn up. You can contest it, but given your family's current legal situation, I wouldn't recommend it. Rachel suddenly lunges forward, her mask of civility completely gone. You vindictive little bitch, we took you in, we gave you everything. You gave me nothing but pain. I don't flinch as she screams. You made me feel small and worthless and grateful for scraps. Well, congratulations, you created a monster. We should have thrown you out years ago. But you didn't. You kept me around because you needed someone to look down on, someone to make you feel superior. I stand up, towering over her seated form. How does it feel now, Rachel? How does it feel to beg? I'm not begging. You will be. Destiny clears her throat. There's more. The estate will be seized to cover the outstanding debts. The house, the cars, the art collection, all of it. Where are we supposed to live? Tiffany asks, tears streaming down her face. That's not my problem, I reply. You have 48 hours to remove personal belongings before the marshals take possession. This is our home, Clayton says desperately. My father built that house. My grandfather. Your grandfather would be ashamed of what you've done to his legacy. I gather my papers. The Harding name used to mean something. Honor, integrity, community service. You turned it into a joke. And what about you? Rachel's voice is pure venom now. What does the Powell name mean? Revenge? Cruelty? It means consequences, I say simply. Something your family never learned. Vincenzo makes one last desperate attempt. Savannah, I know I failed you, but please, don't destroy everything. There has to be another way. For a moment, just a moment, I waver. This is the man I shared a bed with for 10 years. The man who held me when I cried, who laughed at my jokes, who promised to love me forever. But then I remember the $100 bills, the condescending smiles, the way he sat silent while his family tore me apart piece by piece. There was another way, I say. You could have stood up for me. You could have protected me. You could have chosen me over them just once in 10 years. I can choose you now. It's too late. I signal to Destiny, who opens the door. 2 police officers enter, followed by FBI agents in dark suits. Anthony Harding, one of the officers says, you're under arrest for embezzlement and fraud. As they read Tony his rights and cuff him, Rachel screams obscenities that would make a sailor blush. Clayton sits in stunned silence. Tiffany sobs into her designer handbag. And Vincenzo just stares at me with eyes full of betrayal and broken dreams. Was it worth it? He whispers as the officers lead his brother away. I watch them go. This family that tormented me, that made me feel worthless, that never saw me as anything more than a charity case to be tolerated. Ask me tomorrow, I say. But as I walk out of the conference room, leaving the wreckage of the Harding family behind me, I already know the answer. It was worth every penny. The phone hasn't stopped ringing for 3 days. Reporters, lawyers, old acquaintances suddenly remembering my existence. I've turned it off and retreated to Henry's office, my office now, high above the city that's buzzing with news of the Harding family's spectacular downfall. Destiny finds me there, staring out at the skyline with a cup of coffee growing cold in my hands. How are you holding up? She asks, settling into the chair across from Henry's massive desk. I don't know. I thought I'd feel different. Different how? Satisfied, vindicated, something. I turn from the window. Instead, I just feel empty. Buyer's remorse? Maybe. I sit down, running my fingers along the desk's polished surface. Tony's been sentenced to 5 years. Rachel's facing federal charges. The house sold at auction yesterday. And Vincenzo? Signed the divorce papers this morning. No contest. Destiny nods. Clean break. Is it, though? I pull out a letter from my desk drawer. This came today. The envelope is cream-colored, expensive. Rachel's handwriting, though shakier than usual. Destiny reads it aloud. Savannah, you have won completely. The Harding name is destroyed, our family scattered, our legacy in ruins. I hope you sleep well knowing you've become everything you once despised. Those who climb atop the ashes of others should beware of the wind. Rachel. Charming as always, Destiny says dryly. Are you worried? About Rachel? No, about what she said? I take the letter back. Maybe. You did what you had to do. Did I? Or did I just become as cruel as they were? Before Destiny can answer, there's a knock at the door. My assistant peeks in. Ms. Powell, there's someone here to see you. Says it's personal. I'm not taking visitors. He says his name is Marcus, from the Children's Hospital.
I exchange glances with Destiny. Send him in.
Marcus turns out to be a thin man in his 50s, wearing a rumpled suit and carrying a manila folder. He looks nervous but determined. Ms. Powell, I'm Marcus Webb, administrator at St. Mary's Children's Hospital. I'm sorry to bother you, but I felt you should know. Your grandfather was one of our biggest donors. Henry donated to the hospital? Anonymously, for over 20 years. He funded an entire wing. Marcus opens his folder. But his donations stopped when he got sick. We've been struggling to keep the programs running. He shows me photos of children in hospital beds, smiling despite their circumstances. Treatment rooms, play areas, family counseling centers. We heard about your inheritance, Marcus continues carefully. I know it's presumptuous, but we hoped, that is, we wondered if you might consider continuing his legacy. I study the photos. Kids who look like I did at their age, scared, hopeful, trying to be brave. What kind of programs? Everything. Cancer treatment for families who can't afford it. Mental health services. Educational support so kids don't fall behind while they're sick. His voice grows passionate. Your grandfather saved hundreds of lives. He never mentioned any of this. He was very private about his charity work, said he didn't do it for recognition. I think about Henry's letter, about using my power wisely, about the difference between revenge and justice. How much do you need? Marcus's eyes widen. To fully fund the programs? About $10 million annually. Done. I'm sorry? $10 million a year, guaranteed for the next decade. I'll have my lawyers draw up the paperwork. Marcus nearly drops his folder. Ms. Powell, I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just help those kids. After he leaves, practically floating with joy, Destiny grins at me. Feeling better? Actually, yes. I look at the photos Marcus left behind. The Hardings spent their money on status symbols and parties. Henry spent his on saving lives. And now you get to choose what kind of legacy you want to build. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Saw the news. Proud of you. Vincenzo. I stare at the message for a long moment, then delete it without responding. Any regrets? Destiny asks. I think about the question seriously. About 10 years of humiliation, about the moment I walked into that conference room and watched their faces crumble, about the choice between mercy and justice. No, I say finally. They made their choices. I made mine. And now? Now I figure out what comes next. I stand up, feeling lighter than I have in weeks, starting with a visit to the children's hospital. As we leave the office, I catch my reflection in the elevator doors. I look different than I did 3 days ago. Stronger, more certain. Not the broken woman who used to beg for scraps from the Harding table, but not the cold avenger who destroyed them either. I'm something new. Something I built from the ashes of who I used to be. The elevator opens onto the lobby, where life continues its relentless forward motion. People rushing to meetings, making deals, building futures. The Harding family is yesterday's news already, their downfall just another cautionary tale about pride and consequences. But the Children's Hospital will remember Henry's generosity for generations. And maybe someday they'll remember mine too. That's a legacy worth building. As we step out onto the busy street, Destiny nudges my arm. So what's next for the newly minted billionaire philanthropist? I smile, feeling the sun on my face for the first time in days. Whatever I want, and that's the most beautiful revenge of all.